Good morning, church. Happy Easter. This is Katie at Seabrook United Methodist, and today I would like to talk about the beautiful thing that happened the morning that Jesus' tomb was found empty. I'm going to read to you from Luke 24:13 through 35. On the same day, 2 disciples were traveling to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking to each other about everything that had happened. While they were discussing these things, Jesus himself arrived and joined them on their journey. They were prevented from recognizing him. He said to them, "What are you talking about as you go along?" They stopped, their faces downcast. The one named Cleopas replied, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who is unaware of the things that have taken place here over the last few days?" He said to them, "What things?" They said to him, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth. Because of his powerful deeds and words, he was recognized by God and all the people as prophet. But our chief priests and our leaders handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. We had hoped he would be the one who would redeem Israel. All these things happened 3 days ago, but there's more. Some women from our group have left us stunned. They went to the tomb early this morning and didn't find his body. They came to us saying that they had even seen a vision of angels who told them he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found these things just as the women had said. They didn't see him either." Then Jesus said to them, "You fools! Your dull minds keep you from believing all that the prophets had talked about. Wasn't it necessary for the Christ to suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then he interpreted for them the things written about himself in all the scriptures, starting with Moses and going through all the prophets. When they came to Emmaus, he acted as if he was going to go ahead. But they urged him, saying, "Stay with us. It's nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. After he took his seat at the table with them, he took the bread, he blessed it, he broke it, and he gave it to them. Their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. But he disappeared from their sight. They said to each other, "Weren't our hearts on fire when he spoke to us along the road and when he explained the scriptures to us?" They got up right then and returned to Jerusalem. They found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying to each other, "The Lord has really risen. He appeared to Simon." Then the 2 disciples described what had happened along the road and how Jesus was made known to them as he broke the bread. That's a really cool story, I think. But what does it mean? What does Easter mean? To me, Easter means that there is that obviously that death cannot hold Jesus. But it also means that we have a job to do. Jesus was crucified so this story beautifully illustrates that Jesus' story will continue. And we know it'll continue because he rose. 3 days he rose. But the story is literally the story being told and then being clarified by Jesus himself. And then these 2 disciples run back home and continue the story. They continue the discussion. They They are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. Notice that only one disciple had a name. What if that second disciple is meant to be the reader? What if it's Cleopas and Katie? What if it's Cleopas and you? That makes it so much more personal, doesn't it? Cleopas and Katie were walking to Emmaus. Cleopas and Katie found out they were actually talking to Jesus. Cleopas and Katie ran home and told everyone about it, because Cleopas and Katie saw it. It's kind of cool. It also, that technique in writing also allows us to see that, going back to last week's discussion, it allows us to see that we're not necessarily going to find Jesus or God or their works happening in something big and loud and crazy. We're not going to find them necessarily in an earthquake or in a fire or in a wind. We can find them eating dinner with a stranger, which I kind of like. I like that idea, which lends the whole story to those God moments that we have when we bump into the person that we needed to see, or the message that we needed to get at just the right moment. That is what this story is about. So, we are the light of the world. They are the light of the world. So they learn that the current events, which was Jesus's crucifixion and the missing body, is so much more than just current events. It's actually fulfillment of prophecy. Thank you, Jesus, for reminding them. They run home and they tell the disciples, and then they talk about it. And then it winds up in a Bible. And we're talking about it now, thousands of years later. So what does that mean? What is the significance of telling a story over and over and over and over and over again? The significance is this particular story, Jesus's message, transcends time and space. It means that he didn't die for a day. He didn't die for the people that happened to be there during his crucifixion. It means that all of that, every bit of it, was meant for his contemporaries and their children and their children and their children and their children, down to you and me, and then to my son Sam, and to Sam's children and Sam's grandchildren, and so on and so forth. This message, if you recall, is love. Pastor Chuck asks a very good question. It is my favorite question. I think it's my favorite question. And it's so great because it is the question that keeps me thinking about Easter. Who crucified Jesus? Was it Pontius Pilate, who had the power to stop it? Was it the guards, who had the power to not do anything? Or was it the people that watched? Was it his disciples? That is part of the message as well. It is part of the message of his resurrection. And what does that mean? What does that mean to us? To me, it means that even if I was not there to see the crucifixion, even if I wasn't there to find his body missing on the third day, it does mean that I cannot be a Pontius Pilate, or a Roman guard, or a do-nothing witness. It means that I have to see my brothers and sisters in life, other humans in life, as other children of God. And as children of God, they are priceless and precious. They have more value than anyone could ever possibly estimate. And it is my job to love them. That means when I think about Easter, I remove the crucifix, and I remove I remove the guards. I remove that. Take it out of the picture. Because we know the story. And I have to ask myself, what if in place of that crucifix there is a battered woman, or a kid that drops his books in the hallway, or a child struggling with homework, or a homeless woman knocking on the door at the church? What do you do? Do you sit and watch? Or do you make up for humanity's inaction at Jesus' crucifixion? It's love all the time. Something as little as helping someone pick up their books. Something as little as calling to check in on them. That is Easter to me. It is you know the story. What are you going to do with it? Happy Easter.